Audubon 2456.
State of the Save is back with part 2 of Control. Going to be a great episode today. Looking forward to getting back into the swing of things here. My name is Eric, as always, and with me, as always, Michael. How you doing?
I'm doing good.
Doing good, Michael? You feeling like you're ready to talk about some video games?
I am, especially this one.
Okay, that's good, because that's the plan.
Oh, okay.
Because if not, you were here to talk about another video game, we're all screwed. Nick, just to make sure, are you here to talk about Control?
I am.
Okay, then we are on the same page. We are moving in the right direction.
Lost Control? Oh, man.
Shit.
I played Adventures of Cookies and Cream.
Okay.
Just kidding.
We could pivot into that. I feel like if we were to successfully pivot into a entire hour and a half to 2 hour show on Cookies and Cream, I deserve Podcasting Host of the Year. No, it's going to be a great episode today. We are playing the rest of Control, starting off with what is Mission 6, Our Brother's Keeper, completing to the end of the base game. We are not going to be talking about any of the DLC today.
No DLC, Eric.
Yeah, some of us might have got confused.
Yeah, very confusing playing the mission called The Dark Place.
Listen, and it maybe does start off with like straight. Maybe I got excited and I just kind of said, "Fuck y'all's rules. I'm a grown man. I can play what part I want to play." No, we'll talk about that when we get there. But no, we will be doing a third added-on episode of Control, talking about the 2 big DLC packages that came with Control. But before we do that, before we talk about the game that brought us all here together, let's talk about other video games as per the normal State of the Save procedural. Michael.
Yes.
As per the normal State of the Save procedural, what video games you been playing?
I have finished Guardians of the Galaxy. Just doing cleanup on games that I've been working my way through.
Here's a question. I am on Chapter 9.
Yes.
How close am I to the end? Because at first I thought I was plugging right along and I was almost done. And then the story took a weird turn and I was like, oh man, maybe I'm only at the beginning.
You're just over halfway.
Okay. Okay. The chapters are very short.
Some are short, some are a bit longer, but yeah, with Chapter 9, you're over the halfway point.
Okay. I feel like that's about where I
maybe
thought
approaching 2/3, depending.
Okay.
Yeah, so
it's a longer game than I thought it was going to be.
I think it averages, if you do some of the more side stuff and explore open areas, it can take you probably around 18, 19 hours. So
I think what draws it off a little bit, and this is not a complaint, is that the dialogue and the conversations are so good. You're more likely to stand there and make sure you hear the entire conversation and make sure you talk to everybody.
I'm getting worried I'm missing dialogue options, so I'll just stay in a spot. And then you okay, that has to be all the dialogue. And then all of a sudden, Drax will start saying something after you hit triangle. And you're like, no, go back!
Yeah, then it cuts it off and you're like, oh shit!
I missed something.
I missed probably the best banter in the entire game. When I am done with that, I would love to talk to you about that game. I would like to know how much of that game branches off or how much of it is just really good at making me feel like I'm making very critical decisions.
That seems like a topic for a potential bonus show where we can discuss all that.
A File Corrupted that has not popped up on this season because we've all been very busy. No, but I think it would be a really good point. It's a damn good video game. Nick,
absolutely.
I'm gonna somehow con you into playing this game so you can talk about it.
I'll get around to it.
I actually have an extra copy sitting at my house. I might just give you. It's just here, play this damn video game. But no, what other games have you been playing, Michael?
I played a bit more of the great Ace Attorney Chronicles. That continues to be a really good game. I don't want to delve too much into it because it's all story focused, and since I'm past the initial chapters and diving really into it, I don't want to get too far into it, but still a really good game. I'm very much engaged with the story of that.
And this is your first Phoenix Wright game?
Yes.
And you talked about it a little bit last episode, how excited you were to get into it. Feel like it's holding up your expectations? Feels like what you wanted from this experience is what you're getting?
Yeah.
Okay.
Very much so. It's excuse me.
Oh, unacceptable.
It's really interesting, like how deep it dives into. Now that I'm at the part of the game where I am you're basically a stranger in a strange land. You play as a Japanese law student who ends up in England, and all of a sudden you're a Japanese person new to law, learning about British law, and because of that, it leads to a lot of characters are straight up racist towards you.
Oh wow!
In a way that could at first be off-putting, but in a way that I think actually enhances the story overall, because it deals with the struggles of being like everybody looking like down on you in a way, and it provides an interesting perspective for the main character as well as like the time period you're in, being in the late 1800s.
I did not anticipate a Phoenix Wright game being like, hey, we're going to deal with this particular aspect of being this person from this place in this location.
And from what I understand,
so the fact that it does is kind of impressive. That's why when you said that, I was like, isn't Phoenix Wright supposed to be kind of lighthearted and, kind of whimsical? But the fact that they deal with that is actually kind of interesting.
And it's all handled in a way that is, as I said, it kind of enhances the story because it adds like an additional layer to another element that your character has to overcome.
Yes.
And from what I understand, that was one of the reasons why it took so long to localize, being a 3DS game originally and then taking so long to like remaster and then come to the Switch and PS4 and PC, I believe. Because like the localizers really wanted to spend time making like, hey, we want to make sure we get this right, especially.
I imagine it's a very touchy subject to be a localizer on. You want to make sure not to like water down the problem, but at the same time you don't want to misinterpret any of the intentions. Like I imagine that's kind of a daunting task as a localizer. I have no, I speak one language and I do not speak it well. But people who are really like key parts of teams, like I know like people who do localization for like mangas that come in and get published in the United States. Like those guys it takes a long freaking time. And it's more than just translating words, it's translating meanings and cultural like subtext and things like that.
Like you want to convey cultural information in a way that explains it to you, but at the same time does not seem like, hey, people in Japan just know this.
Yes.
But as an American, you're like, I don't understand. What are these guys talking about?
Exactly. You're having to take things that are just basic understanding of people from the Japanese culture and conveying it to an American audience without it coming across like a lesson. Like you have to kind of, and sometimes it's like picking and choosing how you're going to do that. Like, do you take it straight up, or do you kind of maybe substitute some other more Western, concept here? It's a very complicated thing, man. Those people are very underappreciated when people get these games that come in from other countries.
And as a game that's 95% dialogue, I think they nail it so far.
Yeah.
Like, I'm very into the story.
I mean,
if I wasn't, then there'd be nothing.
Oh, bad translation ruined this whole game.
Oh, it's the translation's flawless from what I've seen. Again, I'm not a Japanese speaker at all, but it seems very well done.
And I imagine if there was, because there was enough people who speak both languages, I imagine if there was a dramatic issue with the translation, it would be known.
Well, there has been a fan translation that's been out for a couple years, and even the people who are responsible for the fan translation is like, oh no, they nailed it. They actually did a lot better than we could ever hope to do as a group of fans.
So in that case, I feel like that's the greatest.
It's a success.
That's the greatest compliment you can get. If the people who cared about this so much that they did their own translation were like, all right, this is great. This is completely valid. Because you kind of look at those kind of people's opinions with a little bit of a side eye. Like, how much is it they're just going to defend their walk, over the official walk? So if they are coming out and being like, no, this is great, then it's probably a pretty solid translation.
Exactly.
But that's just something you don't really think about a lot with video games in particular, especially how many games come out of Japan, like, man, translation means everything, especially these kind of games. Like, you screw that up, you're getting a product that at worst doesn't make any sense, but at best is just convoluted and not going to get across the points that they hope.
There's a lot more scrutiny about that than there was in like the PS1 days.
Yeah,
when
we
you
just
can have,
assumed
when you can have like what people consider some of the greatest games of all time, like Final Fantasy VII, have incredibly broken dialogue in its initial run.
And we would just, like, maybe because I was younger, I just assumed that these were weirdly written games. Like, I never put two and two together that maybe there was something lost in translation. I just always assumed, like, man, that guy's really weird. That character's super weird.
When you get item get, that's like, oh, that's just how...
Yeah.
That's just how writing is. Like, maybe that's just not a phrase I've heard before. Item get, absolutely.
Maybe I'm just really bad in the English class and not, maybe that's the proper English after all. I don't know. No, I'm glad that you're enjoying it, man. I mean,
Yeah,
I know you went into it with high hopes, and it's good that it's living up to your expectations. Anything else you've been playing?
Getting my daily fix of Wordle.
Oh, okay.
And pulling everybody into that they see that's like, you should play some Wordle.
Boy, that feels like that almost was a segue. Almost stepping on my toes over here. Let's go ahead and talk about this thing. This is a phone game, correct?
An internet browser game.
Internet browser game. Nick, do you have the
you
one?
say that like you're too good to play Wordle. Like,
No, let's go ahead and explain the game, and then I will tell you why I will never play it.
oh my
Nick,
god.
what is... You have also been playing this.
Yeah.
And you have also probably been sitting over there for the past 11 minutes working on one particular problem in this game.
I've been thinking about it. I haven't been playing on it, my phone, because I got schooled before. Behind the curtain right there. They say don't do it. But
Well, you got told that you can't be playing video games on the podcast about talking about video games.
yeah.
No, okay.
But I have been there in my mind this whole time, just trying to figure out what this word is.
So if everyone's like in the comments on your favorite podcasting app, they're like, Nick just didn't feel there this week.
Yeah.
It's because he's over there playing this game, man. He's not even paying any attention.
It's my fault. I reminded him. I was like, did you solve the puzzle today? And he was like, oh, no. Gravity, you do that.
Wordle is like awesome, but I just completely forget about it every day until somebody mentions it. But somebody always mentions it every day, so.
So it always keeps it. Okay, explain the game. We've talked around it. What is this game?
Go for it, Michael.
It is a word game where you have to guess a 5-letter word.
Okay.
And for every time you guess, it tells you if you have a letter in the wrong spot or a letter in the correct spot. And you have 6 guesses to get the word right.
Yeah.
So it's almost like it's like a game you would. Is it kind of like a Wheel of Fortune kind of thing where you're guessing letters?
Yeah,
So it's like a daily Wheel of Fortune puzzle.
kind of.
Yeah, sure.
You know the mini game in Sleeping Dogs where you have to guess the password?
Yes.
It's that, but
Okay.
words.
So it's only one a day, I'm assuming.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
so-
everyone gets the same word.
Oh, okay, so it's like universal. So
Exactly.
then we'll.
So
there's
I know what it is, but I'm not going to tell Nick.
Okay, but somewhere there's a Twitter account that just
Definitely.
tells you
Yeah,
the
those
answer.
people are assholes.
Why would you do that?
That's
So I am vaguely aware of this game because I believe it was yesterday. Michael was stuck on a ward, and we were in a room full of people. How many people you think were there? How many adults were there? Because my kids don't count. Because my kids are going to be like, I don't know, man. Screw
About
what
4
you asking me about?
4 adults in the room
About
at the
4
time.
adults, yeah. Everyone was asked what the help with this ward, except me. Except me. And when I said, tell me what the word is, everyone laughed. They're like, Eric can't spell what the damn.
You're
My,
enhancing some details, if you will.
No,
one
I'm
looked
not
at
enhancing
No one
any
looked
detail.
at you and laughed.
Yes, they did. They were like, Eric can't spell what the damn. This is why you didn't come to me.
I mean, you
And
can't.
then who got... Yes, I know I can't. Fun little fact about this podcast, those descriptions, they all get word checked by the other 2 members of this podcast. I'm like, listen, make sure I didn't fuck this up real bad.
Also, if you were asking Michael what the word was, you're already no help because that means he figured it out.
No, I was asking what he had, like what
Oh,
letters he had.
Okay.
Because I was stuck. I had one more thing. It was one of those. It was one of those with 2 of the same letter in it,
Yeah.
which always sucked because it doesn't tell you.
Yeah, I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah.
So.
And Michael, who was the one who successfully solved the word of the day?
It was you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You guessed robot.
Yes. I know apparently how to, I know one word. But, no, this is all to say. The only reason I wanted to talk about this game was just to tell everyone I was the one who solved it, and Michael had no faith in me to do it. You know, this is just me being very passive aggressive on this podcast.
Can you blame me though for
No,
not?
I can't
you
spell worth a
being
shit.
your perspective.
Can't spell worth a shit. No, Nick,
I think I figured the word out.
we have a couple of
All
minutes.
right, we got it.
What is the word?
Breaking news.
I don't know. I'm trying to figure it out. We're doing this in real time.
Let's do this in real time. Well, I'm gonna allot 3 minutes here
Oh no.
to solve this
It's
word.
null.
Yes, you got
Two
it.
L's, guys. 2 L's.
You got it on 3?
Splendid.
It
I
took
got
me
on 4.
6.
I got on 4.
Okay, it took me 6 tries today.
Okay, the word was what?
Null.
Okay.
K-N-O-L-L.
All right.
So now our listeners know exactly what day we recorded this
They're
now.
like, wait a
that's right.
second. I like those. Like
That was the word 2
archive.
days ago.
Like someone listens to this like multiple weeks in the future, and they're like, "Oh, we go back, man, bam, 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 bam. Oh, I know what day it was." I don't know how that helps them. I don't know how that enhances the listener's experience to listen to this show. But congratulations, Nick.
Well,
I'm
thank
glad
you,
that you
thank
can
you.
now pay attention to the podcast.
That's right. What were we talking about?
Video games, Nick. What
Weird.
video games have you played?
Wordle.
Yeah, I played a little Wordle.
Okay.
Are we
Well, you've
pivoting
only
now?
played a word a day.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What other video
But sometimes I
games?
miss them, so.
Do you get to go back?
No.
Okay, well, shit,
It's,
dude.
it's the way that we keep the world grounded in this present moment.
Because if not, then everyone would just sit there all day. You would still not be paying attention to this podcast.
It's true. Yeah, it's true. I think there's games out there like that. I think that's what makes this different. It's like it's just one. Like there's no pressure.
What was the game that was like the live Twiddle game that was out for a while? The host guy.
Not the Tutorial HQ.
Oh,
HQ. It's like like if that you could do the HQ anytime you want.
Where's
It
Scott?
didn't matter.
Where's
it only
Scott
mattered
today?
that you had to be there at that time to do it.
Exactly.
I think
So-
it is a baseball show.
The communal aspect. He has a baseball show now?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Maybe.
Okay. Now we know what Scott's up to.
Maybe.
Is he
Possibly up to.
is he still being shaken down by the head of Vine telling him not to talk about salads?
Probably.
Okay.
Okay.
That was
This
it.
is going off the rails. Let's get back to talking about video games.
So what you're saying is it's a normal show for us.
Yes. Nick, video games. Have you
Um,
played them?
Yeah, I played Windjammers 2.
Hey!
Yeah.
Came out after like 40 years.
Okay, is it good?
Yeah, it's more Windjammers, really.
That's pretty much all anybody wants.
Yeah, like they want to play Windjammers on
New art
something
style.
that they don't have to download onto a
An
emulator. Yeah.
Yeah.
I it's a very pretty art style.
I like it.
Like,
Like,
the,
I
hand,
like the
the hand-drawn
characters.
art. It's cool because you can like alternate between Windjammers 1 and 2 when you're like, I feel like we'll get the pixel art.
What?
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Well, no. Sorry. I have Windjammers 1 on my Switch, so
Oh.
I'm saying I could go back
I
and
like,
forth.
I like the fact that you said
Yeah.
that like you can.
So
No.
And then you're
Yeah.
like, well,
If you
no,
have
no,
Windjammers 1.
I can.
I feel like that's the thing that I was kind of going to get to with the Windjammers thing is like I don't think there's any unlockables. Like I think it's just like here's some Windjammers, play it,
Pretty much, yeah.
play it online if
I
you
haven't
want to, which
noticed
is cool.
any unlockables. But I've only played one round of arcade and then burned up all my continues on the final boss.
Yeah, dude.
He just punches the disc.
Yeah,
I'm like, you can't
Yeah.
do that.
it's really hard. It's a hard game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want isn't that kind of refreshing though?
Yeah.
That there's not a bunch of unlocks or a pass.
No, not for me. I feel like this is like a pass. Fuck that. Like I don't need a battle pass for Windjammers. But I feel like in a game that's kind of like fighting game adjacent, you want to unlock cool stuff like new characters and
That's
costumes
true, yeah.
or something.
Like
I am-
challenge a person one-on-one to unlock
Right,
him.
Yeah. That'd
I
be so cool.
imagine there will eventually be unlockable characters if this does well. I mean, why wouldn't there be?
Hope so.
Like, what stops them from in the next few months being like, hey, check out these two people. Now you get to play as these guys.
Yeah.
So I don't foresee that being out of the.
I can see something like that happening. My only complaint with the game is that you can't skip the XP screen at the end.
Oh yeah.
So it you're on that screen for like 30 seconds waiting for your XP to count down when you're like, I just want to play more Windjammers.
Which and like to the same point for what? Like what's the experience for?
I
It's
don't
like,
know.
I've played this much Windjammers.
I haven't used it for anything.
Yeah.
Is it just for online being like, I'm a level 2 Windjammer?
Maybe, but I feel like if anybody cares and they're gonna like throw that around, they're gonna play ranked and they're gonna be like, no, look at my little disc. It's not clay. It's slightly brown. Like I don't know.
That is odd to have an XP system that doesn't lead to anything.
Yeah.
Like, I get the rank thing being like, okay,
Insert Halo Infinite joke here.
Yeah.
the X. Yeah. Get those play a game freaking challenges now. I tried to unlock some stuff doing the Cyberpunk event that they have. I think it's still running. And like it gets to the point where it's like you only get one of them that counts towards that path. So you're just sitting there being like, do I really want to like play this game mode and just like try to do the back hits, the assassinations? And I gotta get 6 of them. So I guess I'm not going to try to win and instead try to sneak up behind people and hit them in the back. Even though I lost, I got 4 of them.
Now I'm just going to spend another 20 minutes in my next game doing it again.
Trying to do it. Like one of them was like get 10 pistol kills. And like the pistol was great in Halo when you're popping it out real quick and dropping a guy. But like actively trying not to shoot, like, oh no, it was 10 assault rifle kills.
Oh, that's terrible.
So it's like there would be times where I would just melee the guy to end him, but I was actively trying to reload and try to shoot. It just, that's not a solution.
Did you play a bunch of that? I was curious about it. I again have not even popped back into Halo.
That game mode is not my favorite.
Is it just Fiesta like the other one was?
No, it's called attrition. So each team starts off with 5 respawns. Then as you run out of the respawns, the deaths become permanent.
That sounds like fun to me.
But you can bring them back. I imagine is more fun not solo queuing.
Probably.
But because of the fact this is a limited time thing and everyone's trying to get those challenges,
nobody's playing objectives or anything.
Not a lot of people tried to. Well, like everyone would keep going for kills. Like you would be down to like 1-on-3. It'll straight up tell you 1-on-3.
Yeah.
And, like, the best move there is to hide and try to get yourself to where your teammates died and bring them back.
3-1v1
and bring them back, yeah. And when people did that, it was fun. But the problem is there was a, just like you could tell people, like, oh, I got to get a headshot. So, run and die, but I took one out, so I'm moving up towards getting my spiky mohawk helmet. It's just... That kind of stuff is really off-putting to me.
I thought about dropping in because I like that color scheme, that like purple and blue vaporwavy type. No, it's a cool thing.
There's some cool stuff. Like there's a visor one.
Yeah,
that doesn't look as cool for the armor I use. I think it would look better if they gave out maybe colors of armor a little bit more frequent.
Yeah, or let you customize your own.
Let you customize your own because I had a cool concept in my head. But I can't create it because I don't have the armor set.
Yeah.
But it's an interesting game mode. It's not bad. And like I believe that after a short amount of time, it becomes almost like a battle royale thing where it starts to bring a ring in to keep you from just stalling too long.
That makes sense.
It's not a bad mode. It can be very frustrating when everyone is because you have to play more conservative. And there's always that one guy who goes and gets all 5 of your kills taken out like right from the get-go. And now it's like...
Is it a shared pool of
yes, it's a shared pool. Yeah. And so like there's always the one guy and like you could spot him from the get-go because he'll like rush the rocket launcher at the beginning of the game, get killed, and just keep charging the guy with the rocket launcher. Yeah. And it'll tell you like lives low, no lives remaining, and you'll look at the scoreboard and it's like this fucker died 5 times. But it's not... It's not their best event. No. I think the Fiesta mode is, to be honest with you, a little bit more fun. But I kind of want them to get more into crazy modes.
Yeah.
It'd be really nice if, like, shoddy snipers or zombies or something like that was added on there as a playlist. I know you can probably, just make those games.
Well, they don't have the Forge thing either, right? That's not.
I don't believe it is.
So I think you can't play those, even if you wanted to do the painstaking work to.
But I think you can do custom games and maybe make the rule set, but it's not going to be the same as like Halo 3 level Forge, where people were making like custom maps for zombies and custom map for shoddy snipers and stuff like that. It's just going to be on maps pre-made, which is not going to probably be as good of an experience.
So that's Windjammers 2.
That was Windjammers 2. Anything else you would like to talk about?
No. It's a fun game. It's one of those games that like I take weirdly competitively. So like I'm one of 2 games in my life I probably would fight somebody over is like Windjammers and then probably Puzzle Fighter.
I thought you won both of those. Let's go.
But like I'm saying, I would
No.
get actually mad.
He's leaving out Marvel vs. Capcom 3.
No, those things like those all fighting games, I'm down to play, and I can have a casual competition and just be like, all right, man, we can walk away from this. But like I don't know, there's a few games like Tetris. If you want to play Tetris Effect, the Zone, I forget what it's called, Zone Battle maybe. Like I get serious about that. Like I'll sit there for like hours and just try to grind SR.
For a guy who's very chill most of the time, like it is weird what does eventually set you off.
And it's always like weird stuff. Like that's probably like the lowest stakes game. Like I'll play PUBG and I'll lose every time. I'm just like, all right, whatever.
I've played many like shooters and competitive online games with you, and never are you the guy who makes it not fun. Like you're not gonna be like, fuck y'all. Why didn't y'all stick up we gotta get the stack, man. You gotta get the stack here in Apex. Like never are you like that. But yeah, then Tetris, it comes out of nowhere. It's like, let's play some fun Tetris games with Nick. Oh no, Nick's like got me by the throat, being like, don't you ever fucking mess with my Tetris again.
I think with Tetris it's worse too because like your failures are your own. Like you just, oh no, I pressed up at this wrong time and now I've messed my entire well up. But
there's nothing to blame it on except yourself.
Right, it's like
any other games you've been playing?
That's it, man.
I'll be real brief here. Breath of the Wild, finally got around to starting that. I've been talking about trying to get into it. Hey, here's a shocker from a couple of years ago. Breath of the Wild, pretty damn good video game.
What?
Pretty good.
First I've heard of it.
Yeah, I know. I'm still fairly early on. You know, I'm not that deep into it, but I very much enjoyed it. It's a very like relaxing experience. I know that it's a couple years old and everything, but then I was playing it on the mobile version of my Switch, and I was still like, damn, it's pretty cool that you can play a game like this on the go. Yeah. I was riding in the car when I was playing that thing. I was like, this is pretty cool.
What do you use your Switch for?
No, but like I was just thinking about because I was riding I never would like not drive.
Yeah.
So I was riding in a car and I was thinking back on like the last time I was doing a car trip with a portable system in my hand.
Yeah.
And it would have probably been like the Game Boy Advance, you know. Yeah. And it was like, look at where we are now. Life is moving forward in weird, cool ways. But no, it's a damn good video game. I'm looking forward to playing more of that thing. I very much just enjoy climbing my little mountains and smacking guy. I'm at that point right now where all my stuff keeps breaking in 2 hits. I do ask a simple question: how quickly do I get out of the point where all my stuff breaks in 2 hits?
Just start killing stuff.
Well, I got like a ton of everything. Like I got a ton of clubs and stuff.
Are you still on the plateau?
Yeah, I've completed 3 out of 4 of the little shrines. Basically the tutorial shrines that show you the abilities. So I've done like the magnet, the bomb, and one other one. So like, I'm still fairly early on.
Eventually you'll run into enemies that have better things for you to loot.
Okay.
And those will last a bit longer. The weapon durability is not going away, and that seems to be the main complaint with the game that I've seen, but it never bothered me because eventually you'll just get to a point with a max out inventory where you just have so many weapons where you're like, oh, I lost it.
Yeah.
I'm just going to take yours now.
My only weird thing, and this might be just me being new to the game, is sometimes I will break a weapon and it won't there's no auto filling of the spot.
You got to re-equip.
I got to re-equip it, and getting my mind wrapped around, swing, bam, bam, it breaks, and then trying to hit the button again, and it just feels a little bit clunky. Same thing with the bow. I got the bow, so if you run out the special arrows and stuff, it didn't seem like it just auto equips the next arrow. But that, it's nothing game breaking or anything. It's not like a bad mechanic. It's just not something that I'm.
I don't like durability, but I get it. I'm not gonna be like, ooh.
Yeah, I get the purpose. I get the idea of why they would do it. I just kind of hope pretty quickly that I get some better stuff.
Yeah.
Because right now I'm got a lot of clubs and rusty swords and stuff, and boy, those things you can't kill you kill one enemy per weapon, and it just feels kind of. Even I'm I know it's Zelda, it's not realistic or anything, but I'm it's a pretty big club. I feel like I could kill 2 of these pigs with it. But I digress. That's a damn good video game. And then Game Pass decided to drop all the video games in one day.
Pretty much, yeah.
I have Windjammers 2. I have Death's Door, which I'm looking forward to playing on my Xbox. And then I thought about getting Rainbow Siege Extraction. And then I just said, I don't know. I'm going to give it a little while and see how people talk about that game. Because I love Rainbow Six Siege. I don't know if I really care this much about this here Alien Rainbow Six.
Game Pass is a weird thing for me because I look at like the big releases and go, oh, there's a lot of download space, so it'll take me a while before I get into it. And then I'm like, paparazzi, all right. 1 gig, let's take some pictures of dogs. This is a game I'll play once and never again.
Yeah. I do the whole like load it up and then go to bed.
Yep.
So like I've been under the weather for the past week and I cannot play video games when sick, which is a terrible thing. So I just like load up the Xbox while sick, and then when I feel better, all of a sudden I'm like, I got a shit ton of video games to play. That's great. Speaking of some video games we've been playing, y'all want to talk about Control?
Let's talk about Control.
Man, that's a high quality segue on the 30-minute mark.
Perfect.
It's like we got this down to a rhythm after doing this for a year and a half now.
Also, you can tell if Michael did any editing, because if I say on the 30-minute mark and it's like 28 minutes, they're going to be like, what the fuck happened in those 2 minutes? What did Eric say?
It's like if something happens with that, I might just cut that bit out. Weird.
Speaking of which, and then it just cuts to Control. No, Control. Surprise, surprise. I still fucking love Control.
It's a great game.
Yeah. We were super high on Control last episode.
No drop in quality, I would say, or my enjoyment of this game.
No, I feel like it ramps up.
Yeah, I think it gets better. Which is kind of an odd thing, because if you listen to the show, gives you an excuse to kind of see like how we feel about games as they progress. Mm-hmm. And there is a general tendency that when we go into games, we enjoy them more than when we come into the second half. And sometimes it's just because the newness factor is gone.
Dishonored was a big one.
Yeah.
Where we were like really high on it, and the second half we're like, it's good.
Yeah, you're just not as high on it. It's you still enjoyed it, just not as high. But Control will high as a kite in this motherfucker.
Oh yeah, this game.
So when we last left Jesse, we kind of stabilized the Bureau. Is the best way I kind of describe it. The Bureau is no longer like in imminent danger of blowing up. Now we can get down to the business of what brought Jesse here. Which is talking and finding Dylan.
Now we're diving into the main mystery. Now that we know where Dylan is, this kind of becomes a lot more straightforward storytelling than the first half. But because of that means the side missions really ramp up, and that's where a lot of the weirdness lies in this half.
Yeah, they don't abandon the Bureau being weird. They just kind of move it to the side because we now need a little bit of more of a straight path to the ending. Well, before we kind of got to just play around and learn about the Bureau. Now we need to kind of stay on target about Dylan.
Which is perfect from a pacing standpoint, because I feel like if they did we don't know what's going on throughout the entire time, it would just be exhausting and frustrating to the point where it's like, I need some answers a little bit. But the fact that like they kind of do the switch where now all of a sudden you do kind of understand what's going on within the context of this weird world, I'm getting to the main point that this game is incredibly well paced. And
yes.
They know exactly what stops to pull when, and because of that, it is an incredible game.
Yeah. I do not feel like there's a drop in quality at all here.
Oh, no.
So, our last kind of like, I guess, cold teaser was that we've been told that Dylan is in basically a confinement / prison cell. Now, say this location for me, Michael.
The Panopticon?
The Panopticon.
Panopticon.
The containment center is what they also call it, too. It goes by a few names.
The Panopticon was the one that I struggled with because I would, like, say it right, like, 2 out of 5 times. I was like, let somebody else take a shot at this first. And the concept of that is pretty cool because it's basically a location for the bulk of the Bureau's objects of power. It's where they store this stuff, which is kind of cool because at first you kind of I thought we were going to a prison like in a more traditional sense where there would be a large number of prisoners. Instead, it's a prison for mostly objects of power. So I thought that was a fun little twist to things.
And going in, you get the dialogue with Trench, as he calls it, is he says a powder keg. Like, it's like if something goes off in here and all the objects of power get loose, it'll basically be the end of the world.
Yeah.
It's yeah. It's both an intelligent and non-intelligent thing for the Bureau to stick all this shit in the same spot. Because while it's a maximum security facility, is it also really smart to put all the dangerous objects right in the same room? And also the gentleman that they have put in charge of this thing.
That dude rules.
He's great. But what is his name? Frederick?
I think that's right.
Yeah, he's great, but damn. He's not exactly...
I love, like, most of the game, I love how matter-of-fact the whole thing about this is. Like, just procedural. It's like, oh yeah, we put them on slabs because they're used to being worshipped. Kind of keeps them calm, no big deal. And it's like, wait, what?
It's just like, it's a thing they have to do. It's a procedure they have to do to make sure this thing doesn't freak out. This whole section, and one of the things that this game does really well is with chapters introducing you to new floors of the Bureau. This whole section is just really pretty cool, even from like locations like the Wall of Honor, where it's just like listing of all of these different agents that have died and stuff like that. You also run into the mold in this area, which is kind of something I already spoiled for myself because I ran into them when I went down that hole I wasn't supposed to go into and fought like a bunch of enemies way over level, you know? So it's like, oh, look, who are these guys? It's like, I've already been here, man. There's a couple of really cool things here. I don't want to skip too much, but when you actually get to the Panopticon, when you finally get there, you gotta kind of spend some time just walking around the cells, you know, just looking at objects. And I like that they don't spend a ton of time like explaining all of them, because it's even more mysterious just like walking up and being like, okay, there's a rocking horse here. What's up with this rocking horse? And then we also introduced to my favorite gentleman, young man who is very, very concerned about the fact that no one has relieved him from his shift of staring at this particular fridge.
Poor dude.
Yeah, it's just the concept. It's like he's by himself up there. He's just like, he can't not look at the fridge because something bad will happen. And the idea that he's just like, no one's come relieve me. I've been staring with unblinking eyes at this fridge for the past 24 hours. Please, for the love of God, come get me out.
Like it's the Weeping Angels from like Doctor
Yeah,
Who or
it's
something.
very much in line with that, but it's a fun little gag, and I like the fact that they don't open that side quest up to you until you get through some other stuff in the location.
Yeah, you have to find Dylan because Jesse's like, let me deal with my stuff before I come back and get you.
Yeah, she's like, I like that it's not done callously. It's just the concept that she's like, I'm in the middle of something, man. As soon as I can, I will come back and help. This is a cool section. The biggest thing that we get in this section is we're going to get our next ability, which is the levitate, which is kind of the necessity there to be able to get to the upper floors to actually get to Dylan's cell.
It's like the final piece of the puzzle of movement because originally, like in some areas, I'm thinking about research that's like multi-level. If you jump from like a high point to the middle point, you die and have to like go all the way around those stairs and everything. This kind of allows you to have like full range of motion around the Bureau where like it's not a problem anymore.
It definitely also increases your combat efficiency.
Oh yeah.
I didn't walk on the ground much in combat after I got this because man, you get up there and levitate, you start doing the air dodge, throwing stuff down on guys. It makes the flying enemies a lot less of a problem because you can hit them with throwable objects a lot easier when you're hitting them from their own like plane than when you're throwing up at them. They have more time to dodge, I think. Mm-hmm. But it's also a really cool visual setup for the TV object of power. It's when this game really starts to get into the trippy visuals in this particular section.
So like the environment throughout is shifting in real time as you're like, I believe this happens like during the combat section too. Like the whole environment is like moving and changing all around you.
Yeah, it's a little bit
Which
more.
They do this in points too, where you like take over the control point and then the room shifts and like reconfigures itself. But I think this is the first time it's happening as you have full control.
Yeah.
And there's another section later where it does stuff like that, where we're going to spend a lot of time talking about.
We'll talk about that in a lot more detail. Also, one thing I like about it, we to get to this section, you have to traverse the hotel, and this is when the hotel stops being such a a passive experience to traverse. You kind of get comfortable going through the hotel after a while. It's the same process. This is when things are starting to get a little bit more scary. They're screaming in the background,
Or like laughing in one of the rooms.
yeah,
or something.
you get the classic jump scare when you do the light switches with Dylan. It's playing more up off the fact that this is not just because you've been here before doesn't mean it's a nice safe place, and that's something that's kind of going to be a kind of running theme with these next section is that the altered these events and the astral plane and places like that, just because you go there a lot doesn't mean that they are hospitable and safe places for you. They are places that are just as dangerous as anything else in the house.
And even though usually the thing with a lot of mystery stuff and psychological thrillers is the more you know about a thing, the less scary it is. But they always throw like a curve your way to keep this stuff interesting and scary in some aspects too.
Well, yeah, and they do a good job of being able to reuse assets and locations, but not feel like they're just cheap reusing. Like, it's not like a hallway copy and paste. It's a story reason why you're going back to this location over and over again, and it never feels like... Every time I went back, I was like, okay, what's changed? And you're on your guard more, and you want to kind of track things more instead of just being like, oh, this is just an excuse for them to make transitions.
And even when you go back to Central Executive, you have more with your key card. You can go in some like the more rooms and discover some more stuff, like the room that is just covered in sticky notes.
Yeah.
With the memo that says, the sticky note keeps multiplying, so now my office is unusable.
Yeah. He got lucked out because he started working from home.
yeah, I'm about to say, he has no clue what's going on here at the Bureau. He's just like, man, why is
everyone wait for their Zoom meeting?
Yeah. Like, I've been trying to do the morning meeting and no one will show up. He's just sitting there with his business suit on top and those shorts on the bottom, Yeah, and that's one thing I really enjoy about the keycard stuff. At first, I was kind of frustrated because how often I would run into doors that were not available for me. And I was like, well, what am I gaining here? Why would I come back if it's just an upgrade that box in there? But because it's some more like story or environmental stuff in there, it makes it more worth your while to go back and make sure to go grab that real quick. One of the big things I enjoyed about this is so when you finally gain the levitate ability, by the way, we finally get to meet Salvador. The homeboy's been talking about how great this head of security guy is and how awesome he is, and now we finally got to meet him and fight him in a really fucking tough boss fight. But when you finally get levitate, you get to go see Dylan's cell, I guess.
I do want to say one thing here. This had my favorite bit with the board of directors, where they do like the split words to describe things, and at the TV/babysitter, gave me a good chuckle.
Well, also it's the first time that there's a implication that the board is actually directly in danger, because before you kind of is the board just like this separate entity that just interacts with the bureau through the director.
We know they're tied to the director and they exist in the astral plane, but that's at this point in the game, that's all we know about them.
This is when we're finally getting to see that maybe they have more of a direct stake in what's happening here. This is maybe more of a 1-to-1 for them. Is the first time it kind of shows that.
And why they're not like, hey, these hiss seem pretty powerful. Let's just appoint a hiss as the director.
Yeah, why they're not. They have a direct interest in stopping this.
Yeah.
I do kind of like the turn on the play because you get to the cell, right? And it would be easy in this story to do the Hannibal Lecter thing of Jesse, meeting Dylan while he's in his cell.
I mean, they do that not too far from now, but...
They do. not too far from now, but instead they kind of subvert it real quick.
The fake out here.
With the fake out when you get there and he's already out, and you're like, oh shit, is he out, crazy murdering everybody? And instead you get the call that he's like, he just walked in the freaking HQ. He just walked in. If you would have stayed here for like half an hour, he would have just come to you. But also, you get some cool audio messages, kind of giving some background into what's going on here with Dylan, how they've been interacting with him. Once again, all-star of this entire video game is our head research doctor. This guy's every freaking audio file, every video file, he kills it. And like the fact that you are getting more and more of his backstory of how he's directly linked to Dylan.
And his slow descent into madness is something beautiful to behold.
But he's a high-quality actor.
Dr. Darling is probably the best character in this game, and you don't meet him physically. He's just... his presence is amazing, and I hope there's more of him in the DLC. He's like the Barry of this game, where I'm like, I want more of you.
I hope we get more of him. Also, I kind of feel like his story gets wrapped up.
Yeah, I feel that too.
It's a little ambiguous. They leave it ambiguous for a reason, I feel like.
Yeah.
Is he on a different plane of reality? Who knows?
I hope so. I hope that he shows up in Alan Wake too. Instead of Barry, here comes Dr. Darling. Or Dr. Darling and Barry team up.
That's right.
It'd be great. I'm just saying. Remedy, hire me. But I do like the freak out where, like, instead of meeting Dylan there, he just walks into the HQ. And let's talk about, y'all went back and did the side mission, correct, with the fridge?
Oh, the fridge, yeah, absolutely.
That's a damn good side mission.
I just love when you go to the main guy about he doesn't know what you're talking about at first. He's like, fridge duty. He's like, oh crap, I forgot about fridge duty.
And the fact that he's called fridge duty and he just like, shit. I like that we've all had those moments at work where like you were supposed to respond to that one email 3 days ago and like it's Friday afternoon, you're about to go home and you realize, oh shit, I was sent in the expense report. And it's just like that level of, he's dealing with, like, Ward killing the devices, but even he was like, shit. Great scene. Like, obviously the guy doesn't make it. But it's a great little, like, optional boss, and there's a lot of those in here.
This boss, when you're originally, I was dreading this again, because playing this on a chuggy original Xbox was tough, as he's just like destroying environments, ripping up the floor underneath you. I died originally falling through the floor more than anything else, but I beat him this time on my second try. This giant eyeball tentacle monster thing.
What weapons are you guys using at this point? Because I feel like my weapon choices have completely changed at this point too. I no longer use the pistol. No longer use the machine gun or the shotgun. I use that charge gun.
Same.
And then I eventually use almost exclusively the rocket launching gun.
Oh, I never even picked that up.
Oh, really?
I don't think I got that either. I used the charge shot and the shotgun. Did you pick that up in a DLC perchance, the rocket launcher?
No, I saw it. It was. No, I just never got around to building.
I think you get it around chapter 7 or 8.
Okay, I don't think I've collected the right materials for that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure it's baseline. But
gotcha.
I got really into making sure I was using the appropriate mods. And like the big thing I found out is lean away from mods that are basic like damage buffs and lean heavier into like special buffs to like specific ideas. So like for the rocket launcher, it's a 3-shot rocket launcher that you can charge to shoot all at once. But I got a mod that made it have an after effect explosion. And then I had a mod that doubled the blast radius. And then I got a mod that doubled the damage of the after effect explosion. So that thing will fuck you up if you shoot it within like 10 feet of yourself. But you can just empty that thing into rooms and just watch bodies go flying.
Oh man, that sounds cool.
The boss kind of is a good example of what you're going to see more of throughout this game, because there's a lot of like the tougher, more difficult bosses are hidden behind side missions, and I like that because it doesn't, if you are in a situation where you don't have enough mods, you don't have enough abilities unlocked, you can kind of come back to it and just fight them later. But I really like that concept that, hey, we got all these tough enemies that are a lot more difficult, but we'll just stick them behind the side missions. You can get to them when you want to.
Because the main story doesn't have like as many roadblocks. The final encounters near the end get really tough, but there's nothing that I'm just like banging my head against for an hour on end.
Nothing in the main campaign, no.
Yeah, no. Those boss fights though, and the side missions are
they're pretty rough.
Oh, man.
Pretty rough. Fridge guy, you successfully cleanse the fridge, so you no longer have to watch the fridge.
You remove all the moldy cheese and everything.
Yeah,
so
you got everything cleaned out. I just love that whole concept, especially like when you walk into the little side room there, and he screws up. 24 hours, man, too long. Gets himself eaten by a fridge, and like one thing I really am impressed by is Jessie in these chapters. Her voice acting is so damn good.
Apparently, the lady that does the voice acting was on like an old soap opera or something.
She also looks like Jessie.
Yeah.
And so like I found a YouTube video that's her doing the tour of Remedy, but like it's always weird to see Jessie walking around talking about Remedy. I was like, it's
As
Jessie.
in character?
Sort of,
yeah.
kind of, maybe. No,
Like I'm the voice. I'm the actress, but wink, wink, nudge, nudge, or something else going on here.
Yeah, she doesn't like straight up like refer to herself as Jessie or nothing. But
Gotcha.
It was very cool to see. Like it's just like, oh shit, that's Jessie. But I was really big fan of like her like delivery on a lot of lines. Like when she goes into that room there, she's just like, what's the guy's name? I forget the kid's name. Damn. Well, like, let's call him Trevor. But it's like when the door opens, she's like, Trevor? Yeah, Trevor. Like just this like very subtle, like it's not delivered in like the stereotypical it's scared line. There's a great line when you're dealing with some mold later on where she's like, let's get to cleaning, she says as she loads her gun. Like it's just a very like her personality comes through really well in these chapters. And never does she feel one-dimensional.
There's
I
more of
really
a
like
confidence about her. in
Yeah,
these
the more
last
confident
bits.
she gets, the more I feel her personality comes through.
Exactly.
Which is cool. I really come out of this game liking Jessie. Obviously, you can just fast travel your way back to the executive offices to do the next section and complete this whole mission. Did y'all do any other side missions before you jumped into the next chapter?
Clocks.
Yeah, I did do that one as well.
Yeah. This is the one where you get to you try to save the guy who needs a medic. So you have to go to a threshold where a bunch of clocks are pouring in to rescue him. You can do that, and then you find out that the guy, once you get back, he's turned into a hiss. Mm-hmm. So you gotta kill him. And then you go back to clocks where another boss is waiting.
I think I missed this one.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe I did this one, which is a shame because that sounds really fun.
This is a hard boss.
Yeah, a lot of the like story stuff is that part where you're like trying to save this dude, and then when you go back, it's just like a straight up boss fight.
Is the boss like a straight up normal, like hissified guy, or is
It is a giant orb that opens a Pac-Man mouth and spits clocks at you.
Yeah,
I gotta go back and do this.
While enemies are the worst kind of enemies, the ones that'll just float at you and explode, are constantly dogging you. Where is
the trigger point for this?
in the security area.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay, I need to go do this one because I missed this one, which is a shame because it sounds really freaking fun. Mm-hmm. I did not complete every single side mission. If it was something like clear the mold out of all these offices, I didn't do it.
I never finished the mold one.
I tried to just do the ones that looked like they were leading to stuff like this. So if I missed it, it might have been because I was not thinking it was going to be one of the quote unquote good ones. I
didn't finish the mold one. I didn't finish the checklist of altered items because those just seem to be like you get a little bit of a boost, but it's nothing like cool story related things going on from what I've seen. And I kept failing the mirror boss fight.
Oh, see, the mirror
one is cool, but after dying a few times, I'm like, I need to finish this game.
Nah, I killed that guy in one shot. Evil Jesse went down easy. Know
really?
why? Rockets.
Oh man,
my friend, you get those rockets, it makes life pretty damn easy.
I need to go back with those rockets.
Yeah, I didn't do it with a rocket. I had to use a lot of Force powers.
Yeah, see, rockets make that because she can jump around all she wants, but with big old blast splash damage, she's just jumping into a rocket. We'll talk about that one real quick. The mirror one's great.
The setup for it is
The setup
awesome.
is great. I love the concept of having to do what's like the opposite in the mirror to trigger the security lockdown. I love going into the mirror ward and Jesse talking backwards.
And like the same audio recordings just right there, so you hear it again, thinking it's gonna be something different, but it's the same one played in reverse.
Yeah,
But you can hear what the other dude was saying. At
Yeah.
that point.
yeah. It's a well thought out little side mission, and yeah, you just fight evil Jesse, but it's really cool. It's a really cool thing. The couple other things I want to talk about before we jump into the next chapter. There is an altered there's a object of power that is a thermos.
Yep.
That just straight up talks about it being from Bright Falls and from the cafe. That was a fun little reference.
I like the idea is like, wait a minute, the gears were turning. It's like, wait a minute, is there so many of those thermoses because they kept duplicating like everything else in this world? So I was thinking, oh man, that'd be hilarious. There was also a bit. This is not the main. We'll get to the Bright Falls AWE report later because there's a lot of juicy stuff in there. But there's a offhand mention in one of the reports that Alan was considered to be a prime candidate, but they couldn't find him.
Yeah.
Because he was lost in the lake around this time.
I thought that was really cool because it makes you realize that it makes you realize also that the Bureau is almost like always on the lookout for potential candidates. Mm-hmm. So like anybody who has survived, it makes sense, right? Like if you were the Bureau and this Alan Wake guy made it through all this shit he went through in Alan Wake, boy, he maybe should be a daggum, potential candidate for director. I also like the fact that Jesse references the fact that she knows him as a movie director.
Oh. Did I miss that?
You get that in one particular statement, and then I won't talk about anything else that I might have played by
So was it
mistake.
a DLC that we haven't
No,
played
it was
yet?
not in the DLC. It was not in the DLC.
Okay.
She references it after you look at one of the little reports about him, where it straight up calls him a writer, and she goes, "Wait, isn't he a direct? He was a director." And that's the only thing I'm gonna say.
Every Alan Wake reference, I sent a GIF to them on Discord of the scene from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood where Leonardo DiCaprio points at the screen.
yeah.
I was like, every single time there's an Alan Wake reference, how he points at the screen going, I get it!
I have a
Yeah.
4-page note section about Alan Wake. Also, we did not talk about this one last time because Nick, I think you went and cleaned it up this playthrough, which was the
hypnosis thing.
the hypnosis one.
Yeah,
really
that was
cool
really
setup.
cool. Yeah,
It's a cool little puzzle, but then a really cool setup where you have to get your way in, and of course, once you cleanse the object, everyone dies in the room, which feels a little bit rough. But just a cool little puzzle, and I like that one a lot. And it also gives you the ability to do the C's, which is an underrated ability, if I do say so myself. If you upgrade that thing, it can be very helpful, especially in some of the more chaotic fights. Ready? Let's jump into meeting Dylan. So Dylan just walked on in and proceeded to get himself put into a crazy floating cell.
They made reference to like, he's here on his own. We didn't put him in here.
Yeah.
Probably to ease Jesse's mind because the whole
Yeah,
took him from you originally, but this was he put himself in the cage. He
Listen.
didn't do it this time.
Last time we put him in the cage. This time he put himself in the cage.
Exactly.
A couple of things here. Dylan himself is like my least favorite part of this game.
Yeah.
He's not nearly as strongly written of a character as everyone else is.
And I feel like that bit never fully. This might be fixed in DLC. It never fully resolves. At the end, it just seems like, we're done. All right, cool.
I feel like he really is kind of the weakest part. I also think him as like a voice actor is kind of not as strong as most of the other people in this game.
He doesn't have a lot to do besides the I'm someone you knew from your childhood, but now something is wrong with me. The voices are in my head, Jesse.
He just kind of does the whole off-putting, way too polite, talking crazy. I had a dream
Going back
last
and
night.
forth between that and the they're in my head.
Yeah, he is the weakest part of this game. When I got to him, I finally got the big sit down where Jesse finally finds him and you have this big conversation. I was just kind of like, Okay.
Because unlike the rest of the game, this is stuff we've seen before. We've seen a guy behind a glass prison with multiple personalities kind of losing his mind and succumbing to a dark power. It's something we've seen before. There's no like procedural office-y twist to it.
Yeah,
it's just that.
It's very much straight up like science fiction. This is the bad guy who's behind the glass pulling the strings, and it just doesn't feel as unique as so many other things.
Exactly. It's not bad, but like compared to the rest of the game, it's probably the most like, all right, I've seen this before.
I was a little concerned because when I finally met Dylan, I was like, I don't think I care about this that much. But thankfully, the objective shifts very quickly from Dylan to the object of power that you and Dylan found in Ordinary, which is the slideshow.
The mystery about Dylan is a million times more compelling than Dylan himself.
Yes, and that's and also Dylan kind of is such a back seat. Like, you don't deal with him very much in the grand scheme of things for the rest of this game, that I don't feel like he drags it down too much. So basically, kind of the next like driving point is Dylan gives away the fact that they have the slide projectile, and that it's on site, and also Dylan gives away the fact that he was basically why he was pulled away from the candidate for directorship,
and that
he kills some people,
and that the slide projector was the door that brought the hiss.
It brought the hiss in, and it also brought Polaris in. He also really fucking hates Polaris.
He's using you, and he's like, no, the hiss are the better option, is straight up what he says. So.
Yeah. And, it becomes very quickly, obviously, Jesse now needs to go find the slide projector, which leads us right back into some of the best parts of this game. I'm very happy that Dylan does not become the driving force as much as the slide projector does, because I feel like Dylan is less interesting than the concept of the slide projector being the kind of the main problem.
And really, like, the conflict between, like, Darling and Trench in their last days, just as a result of using it. So
yeah, they're so much more interesting, and the realizations of what the slide projector is doing is so much better than Dylan doing it.
Right.
That was my fear, that they're like, Dylan's the one who brought the hiss, and he's not as interesting as an object of power like the slide projector. Bunch of cool stuff. We basically now go down to, what's the name of this location? I believe Research.
It's like the prime I forget the name of it, but it's where the prime candidates offices are. Yeah.
Yeah, Vinton. And this is where we learn also that Jesse's been watched and kind of followed throughout her entire life.
That was a great reveal.
Yeah.
Just in there, because you see when there's like the P7, where it's like, what, there was someone after Dylan, and you're like, oh wait, that's me.
Yeah.
Yeah, the concept that like they never gave up on Jessie. She never got away. Like, they were always watching her. They were always like all of her therapy tapes are in their possession, which is very it's very violating.
Yeah.
The concept that here she is talking about these horrible experiences in her life, and no one believing her,
and the whole time being like, downplayed, like, no, this is just like you're having a psychotic break, and it's like, nope, this is all real.
The therapist was like,
we know it's real, and we're going to use this later on to indict you into this program.
Did your parents show you a slide projector during a traumatic moment in your life? And Jesse's like, what? No.
And the concept that like people who have possession of the slide projector are sitting there listening to this as she's being told in her therapy sessions that it's not real. Like, it really puts the Bureau back in a sinister light, especially when you walk into the room that's just got photos of her and all that stuff, where it's like you kind of start to like enjoy the Bureau and find them to be a little bit charming. And this puts it back in the sinister light of like, they also have been following you for decades and mapping your interactions throughout life, and letting you go around life thinking you're insane, or having to prove you're not insane, and like they're not. There's not a nice organization.
This whole section too, like in Dylan's room, they mentioned there was something that says that we'll build him from the ground up. Like, hey, we're gonna take this broken person, and since like he's young too, we can kind of shape him into who we need him to be the next director, and how that kind of blew up in their face.
Yes, because you get a lot of the conversations about like pre-Dylan going off the rails were like they were very like confident he's going to be like the alpha director, right? We're building him up to be director. It's going to be great. And then Darling is like the last holdout for Dylan, right? Like after Dylan does whatever he does, kills some people, do all that. Darling, like the videos, particularly of Darling just sitting in his office, like it happens. Like these things happen. He's confused. He's got way too much power. He didn't know what to do with it. Like we can redeem this. We can fix this. He's so bought into his plan that he just cannot break the concept that this is a bad idea. Like he's going to try to ride this out to the end no matter what tells him it's not a good idea.
He's always an optimist about every single aspect. It was like, yeah, we lost some people going to the astral plane, but look what we've learned.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Well, it fits his personality.
Yeah.
It also fits kind of what the Bureau does, where he's like, people die in this line of business. It's a shame.
People die trying to find the restroom if the building shifts on them and they get locked into an alternate dimension.
Okay, so this potential director killed a few people. Why is that different? You know, he's kind of... In the world he inhabits, he kind of makes sense. Like, if he wasn't inhabiting such an insane world as the Bureau, you would just be like, this is a psychopath. But because everyone here kind of deals with these kind of things, you can kind of make the jump in logic that he's like, no, it's the learning curve we have to go through to make this happen.
It's the fine line between genius and madman. He's on that line, and because of that, he's incredibly fat. He eats up every scene he's in.
I also want to brag upon the memos that talk about the kids' experiences jumping around the realities as they play. I don't know if you read these. They're out of Wordle, but these are memos that they talk about that are mostly Jessie like transcripts from her therapy sessions, and they talk about like the kids use the slide projector, like not just Jessie and Dylan, like other kids in the town are all together playing with this thing. Like other kids from the school get brought in, and like the slide projector is like left there, and they go visit it after school and stuff to play in these realities. And like the descent of things going bad, like kids getting stuck in realities, or
dude
kids
turns into a dog.
Yeah, like one kid turns into a dog. But like also like there's a gang of kids that form like their own little like society that is worshiping some like monster mother creature in one of them. But like the fact that it like descends into like this twisted child life, like Lord of the Flies kind of stuff going on, and it's done really well in those. It's probably the best serious memos you get.
Absolutely, yeah.
Just a ton of great stuff here. Also, one of my favorite parts is when you do the realization that they are desperately trying to pinpoint where the slides are. Most of them were destroyed in the ordinary event.
By Jessie.
But they know of at least one that wasn't. And there's a great sequence in when you come out and you notice they have rebuilt the entire town in scale model form. Mm-hmm. And the combat sequences that take place in there are freaking amazing. Because there's giants in a big town throwing stuff at people.
They're picking up like miniature buildings and just chucking it and watching them turn to dust.
My note here says rooms break apart so great in this game.
So I love that this is a bit where you go through the entire section that is for ordinary. Like it seems like the big AWEs are given their own section of the place of the entire building, and you go there and there's like a recording of a radio show of the guy calling in to talk to like this. It seems like they collected every single mention. They probably have a data server somewhere on like all the conspiracy theory subreddits that are like, let's talk about ordinary. They're probably saving all of those just to be like, what if someone here's not crazy or theorizing? Maybe there's some new information here.
Yeah, I think that was like the point of like the whole dead letters section in the first part of the game. It's just like every weird thing that's been sent in the mail or like called in on a radio show, put it here. It's probably not real. And then there's like battling people who are like, we're wasting too much time on the dead letter stuff.
Then the one that's confirmed, like the ordinary one, is put in the ordinary. Like, we confirmed this was legit. Okay, just but put it in a cart. We'll have somebody take it to ordinary.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's talking about how the townspeople have all vanished, but the town is still there, and like the radio guy is just more concerned about the fact that he's swearing on air. He's like, you can't use it. All right, gotta cut you off.
There is just so much amazing stuff here. Couple also things I like to talk about is Jesse references multiple times in the conversations with the therapist a poem by Thomas Zane.
Yes.
Yep.
And the therapist states that he's not.
Yeah, that person
He doesn't exist.
And Jesse talks about, like, she's like, I remember that poem. I know I didn't write it. So he, but I looked him up. She says at one point, I looked him up and he doesn't exist.
Yeah.
He's not real.
Or no, there was a different guy named Thomas Zane, but couldn't have been the same person.
Yeah, he was like a filmmaker or something.
That was the film director.
That's the film director.
Yeah.
That's the film. Thomas Zane was a film director, not
from like Europe or something like that.
There's a great sequence when she realizes that in the process of trying to find the slide, they literally brought the entire dump
on the subway.
Yes, on the subway.
Crazy, man.
And they brought the entire dump, the shift through the entire. You realize the scope and the resources of the bureau. They're not only like it's one thing to build a scale model. It's another thing to bring the entire freaking ordinary dump.
Sift through all the trash there to make sure there's not one like slide picture there.
And there was some really great Darling videos here where he's like, no one freaking touches it. If you see it, you report it immediately. There's a serious level of commitment to this.
But then recently, they discovered that Darling moved the projector to a place called Dimensional Research, something we haven't seen before.
Yes, that's when you actually get there, you realize that Darling is discovering the extent of this and becoming increasingly paranoid and scared. And that's when he makes the decision to move the slide projector to Dimensional Research instead of leaving it here.
The chain events start clicking in your mind, like, okay, is this the beginning of him going paranoid and building HRAs on things, or did that happen after he moved it to Dimensional? Like, you're starting to get a grasp of the chain of events that led to you being led to Polaris here.
Also, in the dump, there is an Old Gods album. Sitting there. Just a fun little fact. But yeah, that's the big kind of reveal of this chapter, that Darling kind of becomes aware of how dangerous the slide projector is, and he decides that we need to move this Dimensional Research, and we're going to lock this thing down. And also, this is a lot of conversation about him and the director becoming more and more hostile towards each other. And there's those sides being chosen here between Darling and Trench. Well, obviously, they're not seeing eye to eye on this. And this kickstarts our next chapter. One thing I would like to bring up here is this chapter is where it triggers the ability to play the Alan Wake DLC. So every time I finished a chapter and I was done for the night, I would go back to the executive offices. That's like my base point that I would always stop at. So it gave me like a good clean entry into the next chapter.
Yeah.
And it triggered that as an optional mission
dark place,
which led me to go do it because I was like, let's see what this side mission is. And in hindsight, a man probably should have been like, hey, this seems like the Alan Wake DLC. But I might have got excited and played a little bit of it. I did not finish it. But just in hindsight, they should have put a disclaimer, man. The Foundation has a disclaimer. It doesn't pop up to the end.
Yeah, it doesn't pop up till after the main story's done. I feel like the Alan Wake one should have been that way too. But I wonder if there's people who's only playing Control just to see the Alan Wake stuff. But
true.
At that point, though, like, just play Control because Control's great.
I mean, and also you got to play all of this stuff to get there, so you might as well finish the game.
Yeah.
The side mission that I did do in here is when you are dealing with the mold. Down there, you meet the doctor who's been brought in to do like the investigation of the mold, and this leads up to you fighting like the main mold spore, and talking about tough optional boss fight, that boss fight's freaking tough.
Yeah, that one, I said this in Discord, but that one's the only one that I felt like was just straight up unfair.
It gets unfair very quickly, and it's also the only one. Like, I felt like I was a little bit cheating with the weapons I was using. The rocket launchers and the charge gun. That upgraded charge gun is very, very powerful.
Oh, yeah.
And I felt like this was the only boss that even my upgraded charge gun didn't really help me on. And the biggest problem is it just destroys the ability to land. And while the hover and levitate stuff is very, very good, it's always temporary. And so my problem was always feeling like I was landing just long enough to get myself back up, but it would take too much damage. And it's a tough boss. I beat it after I think 3 or 4 tries, but it's definitely not my favorite of the optional bosses. Yeah, I feel like the mirror boss is difficult. The boss at the fridge is difficult, but they didn't feel like frustrating. This one felt frustrating.
The clock one almost got there at some points for me.
Yeah, the clock one for me, it was just like once you figure out that you just have to throw the 4 into the center.
Yeah,
it's just like, oh, I didn't know that I needed to do that, so I might have missed one the first time. So it was just like, okay, now I have to sink this one in just because, and have to go back in. But
I feel like those are like a different level of frustration when you just don't know how to beat it compared to like like you know how to beat the mold boss, but it's just like the amount of time it takes compared to the amount of damage it does is not equal.
Yeah,
it's kind of
that's fair.
I think that's the frustration. It is, it's satisfying once you beat them. Yeah, it's fun once you beat them, and that does trigger like a shit ton of little side missions where you just clean mold out of places. Big thing is that as we're going in here, we have to gain access to dimensional research through the infinite maze.
The ashtray maze.
Yeah, which I stumbled upon earlier on in the game, and it just lets you run around it.
Yeah.
At first you're like, maybe I can figure out a pattern through this.
Yeah,
but
I
then
tried
you realize,
to. But it's a fun wall to put up there, because instead of it just making it like a hard, you can't go here yet, they let you run around it and end up where you came. So it's a fun little way of doing it that doesn't make you feel like this is clearly just a locked door.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, it's a locked door, but it's also, a locked door that we're going to have to, let you guide you through. And so we get a message from our little buddy. Our little janitor buddy.
absent for a while during this section too.
He's been gone for a long time.
But man, does he make a reappearance.
Yeah, he does.
He's on vacation.
He's been on vacation.
Turns out we were wrong about his the cabin being like, oh, it's the cabin from Alan Wake. Turns out it's just his B&B.
But you go back to the janitor's office, and then it triggers pretty cool sequence in which we are. What's the best way to describe this, Michael?
You go deep into the bureau to ride a cable car.
We've run a cable car down to a almost
like the edge of the bureau, which in
like
turn becomes like the edge of reality.
Yeah, it's like the edge of the old house. But as we exit the reality of the old house, we're entering the reality of wherever the janitor went on vacation or wherever he's residing in. Because like there's this amazing visual sequence of like you're traveling through this massively open room. And I'm having a hard time describing it, but it's because it's very vague on purpose. But as you are walking through these pillars into the light, like you're starting to get effects and after effects of like woods and forests, and you can hear his singing in the background. And it's like you're like traveling out of the reality of the old house to wherever he resides.
The lower third on the screen that pops up just says nowhere.
Yeah, it just says nowhere. Yeah, it never explains it, but it's just like, this is where he resides. This is where he went on vacation. So here he is.
As you're going down, is also playing like Scandinavian music or something.
Yeah, it's
opera music. Like,
it's not Scandinavian. It's almost like vaguely. It's much like him. It's vaguely like European, but like a mixture of so many Eastern Europeans, you don't really know which one it is, kind of thing.
I forget what the audio file for that's called because you get the audio file of it. I forgot what it was called. Like,
But it is like an opera.
yeah.
But my favorite thing is when you get
You get the Walkman.
you get there. Yeah, he gives you the Walkman, and he's like, "There you go. This will get you through."
It's like, okay, no.
It's just like no.
I've
Context,
heard weirder in this game, but okay.
But the concept of and then you can do just go back to the infinite maze there, and the concept that wearing the headphones is what gets you through the maze.
And you think it's gonna be that song again?
Yeah.
Oh,
But
but
it's
it's
old
not.
gods of Asgard.
It's so damn good. And like
Now we can talk about the sections.
it's
So good.
so perfect.
Yeah.
It's perfect. The feeling of when Jessie puts the headphones on and like even her attitude, she's like, well, this guy rocks. Like, it's not what you thought he'd be giving you to get through this maze, You
Dude.
thought it would be some like creepy, I don't know, like, freaking self-help tape or some weird object of power like that. Not a freaking awesome metal song,
The Ashtray Maze is candidate for 2022's moment of the year already, and we just got started.
Yeah, this is the coolest part of the game for me.
Also, cool fact, you have to take the hotel to get to the janitor. And inside the hotel, when you do that section, the mold is inside the hotel. If you check the doors.
Yeah.
Which is just kind of a cool concept that the mold exists. No, the clog. I'm sorry, the clog. The
Oh,
clog
yeah,
is inside the hotel.
Because you open up the first door and you can't get through.
It's the clog.
And then you try to go to the inverted pyramid door, and that doesn't work. And at first I was like, oh no, is the game glitch? What do I do? And I was like, oh, the janitor's office.
You have to go to the janitor's office. That's a cool sequence and a really cool use of the motel, which they do a great job in. But I thought it was funny. I was like, well, no wonder the clog's like his enemy. It freaking follows you into the damn motel even. Just a ton of great stuff. They did a great... I don't know if, like, the song loops or if I just kept up with it enough.
I think
but it ends perfectly.
Yeah, it does some clever editing tricks because I noticed that, like, during, like, musical bits or vocal bits where it's, like, the hard rock is what you're doing in combat. And then when you get to sections that are mostly you going through platforming, it mostly just transitions to the guitar bit, and it does it so seamlessly.
Yeah.
Like, it makes it feel like it's a complete unedited song.
Yeah.
But there is some bits, because I noticed, like, every time I was in combat, the music ramped up. And so there's some clever editing going on behind the scenes there.
I was really impressed by that.
My wife was watching me play this section with no context of the game. She's like, this is weird, but this is kind of cool. I was like, yeah. I was like, this is amazing.
Never do you get lost in the environment. Like, they do such a great job of directing your eye to the next, like, opening in the maze. It's probably, if not my favorite section in this game, one of my top 3.
It's by far my
definitely
favorite.
my
It's so good.
Yeah, it's pretty damn good, man.
Because it's the one time in combat where you feel like you have the upper hand or the advantage. You're in control of the environment. You're in control of the combat situations. And I don't know. I didn't die here. I feel like if I died here, it would kill the section for me.
Yeah, probably.
Having to play it again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad I did not die.
I fell down a pit, but it started me like at the beginning of the room. But my health was still the same, so I don't know if I died, if it would do like the same fade to white and then back.
Yeah.
Because I would be hoping it'd do that, because I feel like this section involves is the ultimate power fantasy. It's the one time you feel like incredibly powerful in this game.
The game does not need to be difficult for this section.
No.
The game needs just to give you a badass moment. And to kill you would kind of ruin the momentum of this moment. So it's better that the game just kind of gives you the power fantasy, lets you kick a bunch of ass, and have the awesome moment of coming out of the maze. Even Jesse's like, that was awesome. Like, Jesse's like, that's pretty cool. Like, I mean, you can't argue with this. It's pretty cool.
And then you realize, wait a minute, they hid an entire department behind this insane maze? What is the commute like to the other side of this?
One of my favorite memos you find in here is a complaint about the janitor being in here.
Yeah.
Like,
He's like,
they're
"He's
like,
here."
how does he get in? Like, it was just like, I know someone has to empty the trash, but how is he getting in? And like the concept that this is like maximum security of maximum security, and they're like, this freaking janitor keeps showing up every day. How is he getting in? I know we all like the guy. Like, it even says, like, I know we all like the guy, but how is he getting in? Like, just this poor guy whose job is to do, research here, just being like, this is maximum security. How is this janitor walking around? There's a couple of things here that I think is a little weird. You come in off the awesome maze, and then we come in to the realization that they have kind of locked down, quote unquote, Polaris, which is now we're being told is Hedron.
Hedron, yeah.
Hedron. And I'm a little confused, and I need y'all's help. Now, in all disclosure, I played this game, last few parts of this game, while under the weather on NyQuil. So maybe I missed some stuff due to drugs. But, so, the discovery that they have locked Hedron down, basically, is after you learn that they pull her from the slide that they captured? Or did she get brought in when they originally brought in the slide projector from Ordinary?
I'm going to read my notes here because I have a feel. I just scribbled a bunch of stuff down, so I want to see maybe we can piece this together because I wrote down as I was learning.
Yeah.
I was like, inside the last remaining slide is a place filled with pillars and silence. Trench insisted his ear started bleeding. And Expedition 3 that was sent in led to an entity of massive scale that they named Hedron. That's Polaris. She brought me here so she could be saved? ? So she knew that. So Polaris knew that it was captured. So that's why it didn't send Jesse to the Bureau to save Dylan. Polaris sent Jesse there so that Polaris could be saved. Is what I got. I could be completely off base.
My interpretation, my headcanon, is that when you get to the end and stuff, I feel like it kind of reinforces this. But Polaris in you is like your body perceiving the resonance. And so, like, she is bringing you to there because you were the only one that can stop the hiss, is what I am to understand. Because I think Polaris just dies anyways, even though you save her. Or the Hedron or whatever.
This is my understanding.
But then you still have the powers at the end of the game. So.
Right. So I don't know, man.
Well, how many of the powers are directly linked to the objects of power that you interacted with?
But I thought that you could... the Polaris is the reason the hiss can't control you.
Okay, so here's my reading on this, and this might be wrong. I think it's left vague enough that you're not supposed to have a solid answer. My belief is you're right about the expeditions into the slide. Mm-hmm. So they eventually do find the slide, which is what triggers Darling's kind of panic and realizing it's an entry into a dimension, much like the hotel and things like that. And then Trench, his ear, like I mentioned, his ears started bleeding, and he gets sick from this. And he goes home and transfers the disease to his daughter, who eventually dies. Yeah, which is kind of...
He even says, like, I brought work home, was the way he uses it to, like, describe it.
I really enjoy the concept also that there was other people who went into the slide, and they got nothing. Like, there was no sound, there was nothing, no radio contact. And so when they come back, they don't have any... It's almost like the hiss is an entity from that slide that hitched a ride back with Trench, is how I kind of
I think that's the...
Like Polaris is an entity that exists in that place, or Hedron, whatever you want to call them, and the hiss also exists there.
What if they needed a director initially to get through, and that's why Trench was
exactly Trench being a director gave them something to latch on to bring back in,
because he's a bridge between the director is a bridge between our world and the astral plane
and the board,
which might be why the hiss was able to come through via Trench and no one else.
And Jesse being a potential candidate for a director was the reason why Polaris was able to like hitch a ride back through Jesse. So I kind of like view them as almost like two separate entities. And like
the Hiss and Polaris. I felt like they were like opposing forces from the same realm, like a battle between these two like opposing forces.
Which goes back to like why Polaris refers to him early on in the game as her enemy or your enemy.
Yeah.
And there's the line where Jesse's like, your enemy, then it's our enemy.
Our enemy, yeah, exactly.
So it's almost like the opposing forces, but the Hiss was Polaris hopped the ride back with Jesse back in the initial incident in Ordinary.
But it felt like Darling was put the HRA around the wrong entity because he puts the giant HRA on Hedron, which cripples Polaris, but it doesn't stop the Hiss because of a lack of understanding of what's going on.
That would make sense why Trench was so like blatantly opposed to
because he was like, no, you're stopping the wrong thing.
Right.
Exactly. So,
and also, but then when does Trench start to be influenced by the Hiss?
My understanding is like the very first contact, like they go in together, Trench is affected by the Hiss, and Darling, senses the presence of, Hedron or Polaris or whatever, and they both go back, and like that's like the start, like the first domino.
And like also there's a lot of Darling recordings and stuff that talk about him not like Trench starts to act outside of character, and he's starting to have concerns and doubts about Trench's state and leadership state. So like I guess, and like I said, some of this is left very vague. And I wonder if in the DLC, the Foundation, if we'll get more information. I hope we do. But I kind of like, I think it's left up to interpretation, but I like to think that maybe when Trench comes back, the issue is Trench is like not, Trench is, the fight with Trench and Darling is over whether they should put the HRAs on the main Hedron or Polaris. And then eventually, though, Trench's influence with the Hiss slowly bleeds into the Bureau. And I think that maybe that leads up to kind of what the ending is. And my question is, was the plan from the Hiss to influence Allward, or was the plan from the Hiss to get to the board?
Yeah, I think it explicitly wants to go for the board.
Yeah, it's almost like this is a dimensional fight between entities outside of ours, and it uses the Director as like a bridge through Allward, like we use the motel
to go
through.
Because the final fight's in the astral plane, trying to stop Dylan from being like completely lost to the Hiss.
Yeah. There's a hard cut here because you bring down the Hedron HRA that's around Hedron,
like the little
pillars almost. They're like
satellite dishes.
It's not a great combat sequence. It's
not
rinse and
really.
repeat. It's kind of a.
There's also, sorry to interrupt.
No, go ahead.
Darling's final message in here too about Hedron, where he's in his underwear and says, "I expose myself to Hedron." That's also where you realize Darling's jacked. Like
yeah, he's pretty ripped.
He's pretty ripped. He's a pretty buff dude.
It's, that's when you find out Trench was infected by it, and he says, "I should have told Emily more," and that's where he says he built the massive HRA to stop. So all the stuff we talked about is here, but it's important to note that this was where we get that information is his final message.
Yeah, that and also the fact that he exposed himself to Hedron. Is that when he kind of realized he fucked up? Like, did he realize,
or did he ever realize?
Yeah,
that?
I honestly I feel like both of them are so convicted. Like, there's always just like for no reason really, the Hiss infects all these people and turns them into monsters, except for like Dylan, and then Dylan is just like, I like the Hiss because it's not Polaris, because fuck Polaris. And then Casper's just like, yeah, Hedron is pretty awesome, and anybody that doesn't see that, they're on the wrong team. And it's always like, it's almost just like black or white teams.
It's also almost like ants playing in a game of gods, right? Like Hedron and the Hiss and the board are playing on a scale so much bigger than all these people. No matter how powerful these people in the Bureau are, at the end of the day, they don't stand much of a chance in these kind of fights. And even the Director is just a pawn in this situation for the Hiss to get to the board.
Even Jesse is doing
Jesse.
what was only there because Polaris led her there.
Yeah. And,
Because she's like, hey, I need you to get me out of this bind.
yeah,
So-
and Jesse's a tool for Polaris. And it's like,
And it's nothing more than, hey, I'm in prison. Like, sure, I'm leading you here, making you think it's because you're a bird, but no, really, it's because I've been
You got busted out.
a giant guy put a radio belt buckle on me, and now I'm kind of imprisoned here. So,
when you bring down the HRA, the giant HRA, and it basically destroys Polaris. You know, it doesn't like rescue her; it destroys her. And this triggers a hard cut
to credits.
And like I was like, okay, clearly this is not the end, but I like how they do it. They let it ride just long enough before the credits slowly start to descend into madness text, and then descends into like ink. It's a cool effect.
Yeah, it's really cool.
It's a really cool effect. Unfortunately, I had just played a section in Guardians of the Galaxy that does the same trick, so I was like, it's two times it's done this to me in 2 days. But the whole concept is then you basically come back to, and Jesse is just a basically office grunt walking in the bureau in a black and white version of the Ward.
Mm-hmm.
And this is when, obviously, we as the player know something's wrong, but we basically just go through interactions of an office grunt leading up to delivering the director's mail.
And you can't stop the task. They always keep piling on as soon as you finish one. There's also some weird stuff in here too I wanted to talk about. I noticed Emily was talking on the phone. While talking about like a boy she finds dreamy or something as like surface level as that. But I noticed like her hand is up, but she's not holding a phone, and like her mouth isn't moving. She's just frozen in that pose, but you still hear her.
And you see that more because this is a rule of 3, much like multiple things throughout the bureau, like the house and the light cord and all that stuff.
You deliver the mail 3 times to break out.
You deliver it 3 times, but then reality breaks down as you go through that. Like people at their desk change from themselves to Hiss, sitting there, and things are starting to get more corrupt.
The employees start having bags on their heads, and they start blinking in and out of existence.
Yeah.
So it's really cool. I love this bit. One could argue it goes on for a little long, but overall, I think it's
fine.
It takes long enough to sink in. Any longer, I would have been like, all right, let's wrap this up.
And I think it's important to do the rule of 3 with the fact like things always seem to operate in the house on a rule of 3, like the light cord and the motel and stuff like that. It makes sense thematically to do that rule of 3. Couple of things, as you talk the trench, is when you really get the concept that he brought the Hiss in, and then we get the concept that him killing himself is almost like a way of trying to break the Hiss's control, or like trying to like trigger the event to bring Jesse in almost.
Or does he, because he's tied to the astral plane via the Hiss and the board, does he sense Jesse's presence there and be like, I need to pass on directorship to her so that she can fix this because I can't, because I caused this mess?
Yeah, it's almost like passing of the torch.
Yeah.
Because he does not kill himself until Jesse is inside the building.
Exactly. And this stuff has been going on for a bit.
Yeah, so it's not like Trench kills himself to draw Jesse there. He kills himself once Jesse is there. So it's almost like...
when she's outside the door, she hears the gunshot.
Yeah, I can no longer fix this, so I have to, in my connection and in my time as the director, to trigger the protocol to start back up a new director in Jesse to give her a chance to try to fix this. There is a lot of the flashes of like switching back and forth from Trench holding the gun to his head to Jesse holding the gun to his head to Dylan holding the gun to Jesse's head to Jesse holding the gun to Trench's head, and I can't tell how much of that is supposed to just be, thematic or whatever, and how much of that is supposed to be that Jesse triggered the breaking of the cycle, because the way you actually end up breaking the cycle is by shooting Trench.
Yeah.
So it's almost like chicken and egg situation. What came first, Trench shooting himself or Jesse shooting Trench? But it basically all leads up to you breaking the cycle long enough for you to be able to go to Darling's office. This is when I had to text Michael and Nick to ask them if this was real, because I did not know if it was a NyQuil fever dream. But there's a portion of which Darling has an awesome music video.
The song slaps. It's really good.
It's good. He's good. Good music video. He's pretty good singer, actually. I don't know if that's his voice, if he's lip syncing, but damn, he's good.
The guy's ripped. He can sing, and he's smart.
Darling might be the Superman. And this is what gives into the evil version of the astro plane, and this is like our final task.
Not really a final boss. It's mostly just waves and waves of enemies at the end of this thing.
Yeah, it's a cool environment to see the astro plane hissified. And you're basically, like you said, you're just fighting and climbing your way up to Dylan to cleanse the astro plane and close the portal to the astro plane.
Good checkpoints here. When you die, you don't have to do those fights again. Yeah. You just have to get to where you were. Because that last one goes on forever, it feels like. It's like a 15-minute horde or something like that, it feels like. Just because every time I get low on health, I was like, all right, this is it. Then more enemies show up. Yeah. And they're the ones that'll fly to you and explode. So you gotta keep your distance. And
this is one of those things where I got through like most of the waves and then died, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna pick this up tomorrow.
Rocket launchers, boys. Yeah. That rocket launcher ends everything.
I need to upgrade that before I go into the
DLC. Just a lot. It's maybe I'm being a little bit kind of overly cynical. The cleansing of the portal and cleansing of Dylan's like location there, and it just kind of ends.
It's not a good ending.
Yeah, it just kind of ends, and then the game basically states that Jessie is obviously that while she's closed off access to the astral plane and the hiss from coming in, the hiss that are already inside the bureau still need to be cleansed out. Jessie is now full-on director mode. You get a nice director skin with a fancy hair clip.
That was one bit before you do this final section. Jessie, like, fully accepts her role. She's like, I'm the director. This is my mess to clean up after she escapes. So she's like, she's been leaning that way, but she's like, fully, I'm the director now.
Yeah.
I'm the captain now moment.
Well, like I said, she got a new fancy suit and everything. But it just kind of ends. And I was like...
I played this before the DLC, and I'm like, that's it. And because of that, I feel like that's why I wasn't as strong on this game as this time through. Because also I'm like, okay, there's more. There's more story here. There's going to be more of...
It directly triggers the foundation.
Yeah.
Which is the first of the DLCs that we will be playing for Part 3. After playing this ending, I'm glad that we're doing a Part 3. Because I feel like the foundation is maybe a good cleanup. I'm hoping it's a good cleanup for the game.
I hope so too.
The game is not bad by any means in the imagination, but the ending, and some of this just goes back to I don't care about Dylan. And like I'm not entirely clear on Dylan's role in this.
That there's so much happening that the fact that it about Hedron and the hiss and like this eternal conflict and it all centers back on Dylan is just like why?
Dylan is the biggest reason why I don't care about it. Like everybody else in this game I care about. And Dylan's just wet paper towel.
And since the Dylan stuff is wrapped, I'm hoping that the DLC covers that. Because one reason I didn't necessarily play the DLC when it came out was I think the PlayStation got it first. I want to say there was like 3 to 6 months before Xbox got the DLC for where I initially played it.
I'm hoping that it's a cleanup DLC.
The fact that you can get this game with on the cheap pretty much with all the DLC included, I think will make this a better game. And if the DLC can continue to ride this high, I can see this game being like, oh yeah, this is an essential. Everyone needs to play this thing.
I'm going to be like, I know I shouldn't have played it, but I did play a pretty good amount of the Alan Wake stuff just by... It generally was an accident. All right, like looking back at it, I should have figured it out. But the way it opened up, I was looking for the DLC to all open up after I beat the game.
That's what I was expecting.
So I did not expect it to show up where it is. And then after we had talked about it in the Discord, Michael sent a list of the DLC missions. I played about 3 of them.
I didn't think we needed it until you said that you played something, and that was like, oh, I thought this opened up after, so I need to send this to us for an avoidance guide, pretty much.
And also coming off of the fact that there have been several altered items and memos that talk about Bright Falls, I thought that maybe Alan does make an appearance in the baseline game, and I was like, maybe this is the baseline game appearance of Alan, and then I will get the Alan Wake DLC stuff at the end of the game. I did not know that the Alan Wake stuff opened up where it does. I will say that it strikes me as the Alan Wake stuff is a very separate story.
Yeah.
And the Foundation, I hope, is a continuation of the Control story.
Like tie up the loose ends type thing.
Yeah, I want Foundation to tie up the loose ends. Alan Wake seems to be an Alan Wake story with Jesse being a...
And I hope it leads us into where we think Alan Wake 2 is going to...
Oh, you want to talk about that? We talk about that.
We'll talk about that
next time.
But do you want to talk about, since there is like... I scanned the whole document on my phone of the Bright Falls AWE. Do you want to talk about that whole thing before we go in, or should we...
No, we can talk about
say that. So, what's interesting is that I believe it's in the same room where Jesse's prime candidate stuff is, and that just goes over everything that happened in the events at Allen Lake and what happened with Cauldron Lake. It even sets it in September of 2010, and all the notes that you get place this game at 2019 when it came out. So it's very much like if you ever watch like crime shows or something on like cable or network TV, they always place it in like the current day, so it's like the Remedyverse is happening right now. Like, assuming when Alan Wake 2 comes out, I'm assuming it'll take place in 2023. But it mentions there's some cool stuff here, like Breaker, who was there was an ex-bureau agent in Alan Wake, and he received a call from Barry on behalf of Breaker's daughter, Sarah, who was the current sheriff of Bright Falls.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I don't want to get super into this because I accidentally played some stuff. I don't want to like get them confused. Gotcha. But there is a lot of talk also about the fact that the Bureau have set up a kind of observation point around Bright Falls.
I believe it, yeah.
Yeah, and I don't believe is in the DLC. I believe that's in memos.
Yeah, I think they mentioned it in the memos, yeah.
Yeah. In the baseline game, there was memos mentioning the observation points being set up inside Bright Falls as a potential Alter World event location.
Yeah. And they say they interview Thomas Zane here, despite the fact that apparently doesn't exist. They also interview Odin and Tor. Glad to see their names appear again. It said, I love it. Alan Wake was believed to...
big old black bar.
Big old mark. Instead of, you're like, we're going to get some info. Nope. Black bar. I'm like, those bastards.
I like the fact that there seems to be a post-Alter World event seems to, like, put things back together, but just not in the right way.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, the world gets changed in the event, but then it comes back together afterwards, but it just, things fall through the cracks of the repair. It's like a bad stitch job.
Yeah, mostly temporary.
Yeah.
Effects.
But then there's always, like, things that fall through the cracks.
Like, where's Alan? This is
what happened to the waitress? Is she okay in the world? And what we see of her at the end is actually just a dark mirror version of her.
Well, it makes sense in the end of the Alan Wake DLC that, like, things are kind of put back together.
Yep.
But like I said, things fall through the cracks.
And notably, the sheriff as well, the FBI dude,
yeah,
Nightingale.
Nightingale. Yeah,
it's in one of the memos that like we know this dude's gone.
Well, and also there's in some of the memos. I believe this is in the base game. Forgive me if it's not. That he at one point was trying to. They have records of him contacting the Bureau demanding information about Alan Wake, and like there was conversations about.
All right, that's not in the base game.
Is that not in the base game?
Yeah, I want to interrupt you.
Okay.
All right, well.
Yeah, I'm trying not to.
All right, well, I think let's put a pin in this for next time. Cause we're going to dive deep into Alan Wake next time.
So next section, we will be playing AWA and the Foundation. You should play the Foundation first, and you can play AWA second. I will say it seems like AWA is very much a standalone story.
I'm very excited.
Yeah. I might finish AWA first because I've already
halfway
stumbled into it, and then do the Foundation. It seems like that either order is fine. Anything else y'all want to talk about before we head on home?
No.
Okay. stateofthesave@gmail.com is the email you send emails to so we can talk about them.
If we got our explanation of the ending completely wrong and you are the head of the Control subreddit and go, these guys don't know what they're talking about.
That's where you send the email to.
Yeah, exactly. Send all complaints and praises to
@stateofthesave at Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, which is our social medias, where you can tell us we're great or you can tell us that we don't understand Control. Either one, valid messages.
or both. You can say both. You guys are great, but you don't understand Control.
Yes, that'd be perfectly fine. And we'll probably be like, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, you probably.
But that's why we're playing the DLC, to better understand Control. Next time, we will be obviously finishing the 2 DLCs for Control, and therefore finishing our conversation, our deep dive into Control. And then we will be announcing our next game, which is very exciting.
Woo!
As always, stay safe out there. Thank you for joining us. See you next time.